Welcome, everybody. It's Tuesday night. We've been out a couple weeks, but don't worry. We've got a great show for us tonight. We're going to do general contractors. With us, we've got Steve Childs. He is the president CEO of RRM Design Build right here in Chesapeake, Virginia. We've got Rick Mills. He's a senior project manager with Jackson and Andrews Building Design out of Virginia Beach. They do a lot of residential building. And we've got Gabe Gottschalk. Nailed it. And he's with Gottschalk Construction out of Milton, Delaware. They do a lot of residential and commercial building. So how y'all doing tonight, fellas?
Good.
All very good. Very good.
We're gonna welcome to the show. We're gonna ask each of y'all a couple questions here and there. We're gonna get real quick with just an introduction. We're just gonna start right at the top. Steve, tell us a little bit about general contracting, what you do, how you got into it, and what you had to do to get there, bud.
I'm actually a good person to have on the show today because I got in it because I'm kind of a dumbass. So, long story short is I've been in the business since I graduated college in 1983. RRMM is a design build company that does commercial work we're licensed in Virginia, North Carolina, and Maryland, and we do work all over those areas. I don't want to call us a boutique company. We're a medium-sized company that does mostly negotiated design build work.
Okay. And was general contracting something you always set out to do, or did you fall into it?
I wanted to be rich, and I didn't figure out how to do that, so I got into general contracting. I just fell into it. I got out of college, didn't know what I wanted to do. I graduated with a booming 2.4 grade point average in sociology, and I got a job in construction because of my brother. So that was it.
How much does sociology help you in general contracting?
Somewhere between 0 and 2, I think, out of 1,000.
More on that in a few. Next up, who we got down there? All right, Gabe, tell us a little bit, same story. How'd you get into this? And
well, I got my start back. I don't know. I've probably been in construction for 4 or 5 years now. And ever since I started doing it, I started working for a guy down in Millville, Delaware, doing like kind of driveways, running a skid steer, running equipment, like small equipment, mini X's and stuff like that. And from there, I fell in love with it. I mean, running the equipment, that is. And, after that, I kind of fell out of it. I've been in college this whole time, pursuing a degree in marketing, and I'll actually be done here soon, this semester or next semester, probably in the spring. But I learned that after looking into it, equipment, I don't have 20, 30 grand to drop on, a new excavator. I don't want to get myself in a mountain of debt with CAT either. So after that, I started working for a general contractor out of Southern Delaware there for a while, for a couple of years. And as a laborer, I was like, there's no money in this. I'm making $10 an hour and I hate myself right now. So doing remodels and tearing, rot sheathing off of walls and stuff like that. So this isn't for me. So, I after that, I was like, okay, I see what the guy's doing in charge. I can do that myself. How hard can it be? And, so I went and got my business license, got insured, got all the legal things I needed. And I ended up, going into business for myself about July 2018 and haven't looked back. I figured out that a level was a lot cheaper than a mini excavator. So I could start doing remodels and kitchens, decks, stuff like that, that I can handle on my own and with small subcontracting groups. With their help, I can take on a little bit bigger projects when I have them. So, but knock on wood, it's been consistent since I started. With the word of mouth and some referrals on Facebook, things like that have kept me busy. So, so far we're pretty good.
Will you use the marketing degree to market your construction company?
I like to think I will, for how much it costs.
Fair enough.
Yeah, hopefully.
All right, Rick, where you at?
Right here.
Put Rick up on the screen, Gary. There he goes.
Yes, we're a high-end residential builder in Virginia Beach, Virginia. Do a lot, mostly new construction, some renovation, and basically after high school, I went to community college for a couple years. Wasn't going anywhere. Had no idea what I wanted to major in. And one of my buddies had started doing some carpentry work, working for a framing crew. And I was like, hey, if they need anyone else, let me know, because I'm looking to do something. And guy brought me on maybe a month later, and I ended up working for him for 7 years doing custom framing, and learned a ton of basic carpentry skills. And then from there, I was trying to do a couple things on my own. I flipped a house, but that was 2007, and then ended up getting a job as a project manager. My first one in 2008. A year later, that company was out of business. That's when things were slowing down. I bounced around from a few different builders for about 5 years, and then came on board with Jackson. It will be 8 years ago, February, and we've just been growing. I came on right after he started the company, and we're doing really well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'd also like to reintroducing my cast with Dave
Chuck
Jones.
Chuck,
Dave Jones, come on.
Chuck, he blew right by us, didn't he?
I'll get to you, buddy. There.
We forget.
Dave likes to hear his name online, so I want to make sure everybody heard. Dave Jones in the house tonight.
Yay, Dave.
With no straw. And Chuck Wilson, as always. And then
Happy
Gary
to be
the Tech-
back.
And Gary the Tech God.
Gary the Tech God.
The guy that puts us all together for us.
Not to be confused with Greg.
Yeah, that guy's a jerk.
All right. So, guys, y'all are new to the show. So just Steve, I know Steve, so I was telling him earlier. So, the point we try to make it every week, we are not anti-college. We are totally for any class that's going to help you get ahead. But sometimes I think people need to know what they need to take, not just take anything to get ahead. So we kind of like to get people to get their feet wet, learn a couple careers, check out a couple different things, and then dive in. A lot of employers will pay for the schooling. If you need assistance, they'll at least do that. But most important, I think most employers will help you grow into whatever you're trying to do. And I'm sure the three of y'all, it sounds like, you've been along with people that have helped your careers. Would you say so?
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Rick, did you have kind of a mentor along the way? Somebody you grabbed, that you tried to model yourself after?
I honestly, the guy I worked for framing was awesome. It taught me a lot. But I, was very focused in just framing, and I knew early on I wanted to learn other aspects of home building. And I really started out, finding some books online and just starting to read other, I think my first one was trim carpentry. I always love molding and millwork. I think that stuff looks so good in the house, and wanted to learn how to do that.
That's a different trim book than Dave reads.
There's something wrong with you, man. Go ahead, Rick. Disregard it. Mute him if you want to, even.
To me, you got to know a little bit about everything. But I actually felt like when I got that first job as a superintendent for a remodeling company, that's when you really you get your feet wet and you realize all the things you don't know. I learned a ton.
You're still learning, right?
Oh, absolutely. You can never stop learning. There's
even
stuff changing all the time.
Even with you three different guests here, there's so many different avenues. We've done, this is the 25th or 26th industry we've done, right?
Somewhere around 23, 24, yeah.
Okay, something like that. We did a couple without you, Jeff. We didn't tell you that. And they were great. But anyway,
They were the best. They were the
best ones. But anyway,
love you guys.
So we've done a few of these. One of the things that always strikes me about these different careers, and basically when we got this idea together and we talked about it, it was what career could we get into that we didn't need a bachelor's degree to get into? And it could be certificate programs, it could be a junior college program, but something where you weren't spending $250,000, but you could still get into an industry. So that was kind of the premise, the base thing here. But one of the things that always amazes me about the people we have on here, and tonight's the same way. Okay, so we had the one topic, we presented it to three people.
It's story time with Dave Jones.
Story time.
Yeah,
Excellent timing, Gary.
Smooth.
He hasn't lost his touch, has he? One of the things I was trying to stay before that interruption was that we gave the same idea to all three guests, but yet all three guests, although they're in the same industry, are on like there's so many different avenues you could take. I mean, Steve, tell us about that. Like, I know you're a design build commercial guy. It sounds like, right?
Yes, sir.
And talk to us about just all the different industries somebody could get into, like going down this road.
Well, first off, let me just say that this is fun for me because I was Gabe's age and I knew way more than I know now. Gabe, you're going to do great. Just stay confident, keep doing it. But so I've been doing this for 38 years now, and it's the changes in me and the industry and everything have been amazing. But so the construction industry is cool because we have so much stuff. We're production, we're purchasing, we're talent. We've got some talent. We've got marketing, we've got business. There's just so many avenues. And my particular company,
design and planning, design.
We've got design, absolutely.
Yeah.
Planning. Planning is a huge aspect of it. In fact, as a design builder, we're part of one of our major departments is pre-construction. So we meet a client, our turn is about 2 years. We meet a client, and from the time we meet a client to the time we hand them the keys is about 2 years. So the whole planning side of it is enormous, and the control of that and controlling expectations and keeping people focused and moving in the right direction is really cool. And I've been fortunate in that I mentioned before that I was a horrible student. I was a horrible student in grade school, high school, college, and so although I value college education, I've never used it as a reason to hire or not hire someone. So my top 3 execs that work for me do not have college educations, and I'd put them up against anyone, anywhere. So
they learned in the field or on the job, school of hard knocks, kind of like you. Or I mean, I started my company. I'm not going to tell a story here, Jeb. But I was 24 when I started my company. So I look at a guy like Gabe or Steve or even Rob, Rick. I mean, anybody that gets in this stuff young. I mean, sometimes, Gabe, you're too stupid to know any better, so you just go out on a business on your own, right?
Right. Exactly.
I mean, what do you have to lose?
Otherwise, right?
Well,
So I think that's a pretty interesting aspect. Tell us about that, Gabe. Tell us about your mindset of doing this.
So my mindset was, the guy I was working for was all right. I mean, I wasn't making any money. I was getting paid $10 an hour, minimum wage. Didn't have any tools when I started, anything like that. I wasn't very, I didn't have much invested in this business at the time. But sorry, I'm blanking right now. But, I wanted to do better. I want to make more money. That's immediately what I was thinking. I see what he's doing, and I can do this. I can do this better, and I can make what he's making. And so I went into looked all the things I needed to do, all the legal aspects of the business, and got my certifications, got my Delaware licensing, and I'm working on my MHIC right now for Maryland to get certified there. Been studying for that for a while, and I got insured, got everything I needed with all the things I needed, and then I went and got certified with a few products like IntelliDeck decking. That was kind of my first certification. It's like waterproof, kind of like a Duradeck material. I got certified with them, and I picked up a bunch of jobs there. Then after that, I went and got certified with GAF with their TPO materials, so I could start doing TPO roofing, mostly commercial projects, stuff like that. And and I found myself here almost 3 years later, and still loving it. I mean, there's never a day where I'm doing something, doing the same thing twice, and I'm always looking to grow. I don't have any guys that work for me right now. For anything I need, I use subcontractors. But after I'm finished with my degree and everything, and that weight's off my shoulders, I'll have a lot of free time, and more free time, and that weight's going to be gone, so I can focus on work a lot more.
How old are you, Gabe?
I'm 24. I turned 24 a few days ago, actually.
Good for you, buddy. Good for you.
Happy birthday.
Nice.
Yeah, man.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
You have a lot better hair than Dave at his age.
Hey, don't worry, it's coming out.
I still,
I'm on my way out.
All right.
Jeb, take your hat off, dude. I'll do a hair off with you right now. I'm 61 years old. Jeez,
I think you have
I'm not
nice
having a
Dave.
hair off on live television with you, Dave, because I know you'll show us your back.
well, that's all.
Well, one of the things that we always like to talk about is folks finding what kind of really works for them, what causes them to enjoy life more, to feel like they're fulfilling themselves.
It's Deep Thoughts with Chuck Wilson.
Yes, they love to play with us here. That's anyway. Just looking for some of your perspectives on how you found, or if you are in what really fits you and your personality, your interests. Start with you, Rick.
Yeah, I think I always had a fascination with building things as I was younger, and I'd like to say like I'm mechanically minded, so like figuring out how things work is just that's something that I thrive with. I feel like, and I mean home building is it. I mean you got to figure everything out. I mean I feel like pretty much nothing is the same twice. Like especially with custom building, like it's different every time. So, and there's just, gray areas on the plans that have to be figured out. And I think I really enjoy doing that. I always like seeing the transformation, whether it's a renovation or a new home. You start with dirt, and when you're done, you can look back and see what you've made there. I mean, that's very rewarding.
Steve.
I just muted my microphone because Denise is getting ice for her drink.
Oh man, that's
Is that an every night thing in your house?
No, she's got a bit of a problem, but we don't want to talk about it with her here.
In honor of Deb.
She's got something wrong with her middle fingers right now. I don't understand what does that mean, honey?
oh,
He's
Cramp.
back at you, baby.
It's a cramp.
That's a cramp.
On the next episode of Dr. Phil here. Go ahead.
Hey, you guys know a good divorce lawyer?
Maybe
Sorry, they have college degrees. We don't have any of those on our show.
maybe you and Jeb can get a BOGO.
I got a happy wife there. Thank you, Dave.
Me too. Right, baby?
I do like to always touch on money. Steve, since you're on the screen, just looking up on Indeed for Virginia, I mean, basically they're saying general contractor average salary is around $100,000. What would you say is a scope? Somebody just coming in, getting their feet wet versus somebody who's a seasoned general contractor, the kind of money they can make, Steve? Just a ballpark. We're not holding you to the spot, just a rough idea of someone coming in, someone this earning.
It's a huge spread. So and I don't have my glasses on, so young guy Gabe. So Gabe, a guy like Gabe. So as a tradesman, Gabe can make decent money, but as a business owner, Gabe has an opportunity to make fairly significant money, and Gabe can probably attest to that. Moving up the line, for a home builder, I can't tell you because I haven't done that for a long time. But as a general contractor walking in the door in Hampton Roads, and let's be specific, because Hampton Roads is a somewhat lesser paid market than some other markets. But at Hampton Roads, you can walk in the door making $60,000, $70,000 a year. But the most important thing I think about construction is the sky's the limit. If you bust your ass, you're relatively smart, you're very intuitive, and you've got a lot of common sense, you can make a lot of money. And the construction business is definitely a place. One of the things that enticed me, not so much anymore, but at the time, it was that I had an opportunity to make a ton of money. Now it's, there's so many other aspects of it. Managing people is absolutely amazing. It's the best part. So Gabe, when you get some people working with you, cherish that part, because it's sometimes it's a curse, but most of the time it's a blessing. Bottom line is you can make good money.
How about Steve? If you're doing design build work, and I know because I've been on a lot of design build teams on the air conditioning side, you get to build a team, and you probably have really good relationships. You make relationships with people, you know, and you build a team. You build that team, especially in design build work. It's drifted back to where you build this team, you have a budget, you talk to your customer, you give them the most value you can for their money, and it's done on really a good faith basis, and you're probably using the same team over and over again in a lot of cases. You know who you're going to bat with, right? I mean, isn't that kind of how it works?
Absolutely. We work with, I would say, the same group of subcontractors do 85 to 90% of our projects. We all know what to expect. It truly is a team. I agree with that, because when you do what we do, it's almost all negotiated. So you can't mess up. It's not like it's the next job you're going to get because you're low bidder. You're not going to get it if you're not doing good work, period.
Yeah, you've got to be. It's all, it's performance based. I used to love it when people would say to me, "Oh, I'm on a fixed income," and my answer used to be, "Well, I would like to be." Okay, I would like to know. I remember years ago going, "Well, I would love to know what my income is, because I'm not sure what it's going to be this year."
Not to keep focusing on Gabe, but I was you, man. I knew way more than my boss did, and I know way less than I did when I was 24. Now, at 24, I knew everything. But that bravado is what gets you through. You've got to push forward. You got to be smart too. But I applaud you for what you're doing.
Yeah, well, there's something. There's something in there, Steve, that doesn't. There's something, because I was the same age. There's something that just you don't stop to figure out what you don't know. You just keep plowing. If we're going to talk about it. Go ahead, Chuck. I know it's on your lips right there. Go ahead and say it.
I've always said that if you knew how hard things are going to be in advance, you would never do them. So it's sort of that ignorance can be a real blessing. It kind of makes the world go around to some extent, and but being willing to do things that are bigger than you can imagine, or you can't really see your way to tomorrow and how you're going to deal with that problem. But you step forward learn to step forward in faith that you're going to be able to do that. I mean, are you beginning to see that, Gabe?
Yeah, absolutely. If I hadn't put my faith in God, trusted God, and put my hands behind my back and dove in, then I wouldn't be here. I had to go in head first, and believe me, I need to make the money I do now so I can pay for all my mistakes and lessons. So, and believe me, they're expensive.
Yeah.
Gabe, you probably never run out of things to do, right? I mean, there's probably always something. There's probably always something to deal with. I mean, at this point, this is really an interesting guess we have, because it's like kind of like the before and after thing here going on.
Yeah.
Between
call me old?
Well, Rick,
for my wife.
We got before and after, and then we got the middle here. With Rick's clearly got a passion for his. Gabe, I know when I was your age doing this, I hate to say, we used to walk through snow, 4 feet of snow to school every day. Right. But anyway, right. Everybody has a story. But when I was going to business like you are now, and it makes me think back, and there was never a minute back then that I didn't have something I could do. Like there was the next, whether it was something to do with getting a license or something to do with ordering equipment or ordering materials or figuring out what I had just promised a customer that I would do that I wasn't even sure I knew how to do, but I knew I was going to figure it out.
Dave, you just
fake it till you make it.
You just mentioned another thing I want to get to as well is, let's just talk about getting the license. So I actually have a builder's license as well, and it's been a few, but and I'm sure Delaware is pretty similar to Virginia. Normally they are as far as reciprocity. But what do you have to do? I'm just going to start with Gabe because he just did it. Tell us what you had to do to get your credentials and to get your business licensing and everything for contracting in Delaware. And I'm sure Steve or Rick can tell us about Virginia.
So for contracting and carpentry work, stuff like I do, it's almost scary how easy it is.
Are you which class are you? An A, B, or C contractor to start?
I don't know. Delaware doesn't. I never really got a class, I guess. Maybe I did. I don't know. When I applied, I guess I could have found that out, but I don't know. Delaware. pretty much. I guess you apply. I mean, online, go through the steps, and there's not really any qualifications you need other than, I mean, holding liability insurance for your company name, and that's about it. Besides that, you pay the $75 and you get your license.
No testing for building or anything like that. So you just got
testing.
like general contractors. You just got a general,
pretty.
Okay, it's like a class C probably or something like that.
I guess, yeah. That's
I
what
know
use.
you probably don't have class. Well, I mean, Dave doesn't have class. He's from Delaware, so I assume nobody from Delaware has class.
Oh, stop.
Rick, you work for a contractor though. Are you one of the owners over there? Or?
No, I'm the senior project manager. But
okay,
but yeah, basically, when you've got the C. It's been a few years since I've looked into it, but the C is very, very easy to acquire. Of course, you're limited on your maximum total contract cost.
It's like 20. I think it's like 25,000 for a C, right?
I know. I think it's like 7,500. It's very low.
Okay.
But you can, if you're doing some work for someone, you can basically, this was one contract and this was one contract, and you can kind of get around it.
They frown upon that.
That's probably not what I have then.
Yeah, you don't want to say that on TV. They frown upon that.
I think GPR is signed on with us here.
Yeah, the A is really the one, if you want to be doing home building, that's there is a test. It's open book.
Yeah. So me and Steve have an A. Steve, I assume you have your class A as well for building. So we had to do a test. OSHA. You had to do OSHA. You had to do building. You had to do your just general contracting, of course, for
construction
class A.
law.
Yep, construction law for A. Then you have your references, and you had to have, I think it's like 40 or 45,000 liquid, right, Steve?
40K, which was,
right.
It was impossible at the time,
Okay, so it is a little different. So that's what you got to do just for those at home. At least for Virginia, that's what you got to have. And then you got to have like 3 or 4 companies or people that will vouch for you as well, that you've been doing business with for quite a few years, I believe.
Absolutely. That's correct.
Okay. So like for Gabe would start out like a C or B like he's got. And then if he was going to start doing either $1 million a year or jobs that were 100,000 or above, he would have to get a class A license. That's the way it is in Virginia. Maybe that's what it is in Delaware, Gabe, or no? You can do
I'm not sure. I mean, I've never heard anything about it. We, I got my license and I take on jobs bigger than that. So, I mean, I assume, and I've never run into any issues with my contracts and things like that. But, Maryland, I've looked into, as far as the qualifications, everything go for the MHIC license for Maryland. I mean, you've got to have, I don't think it's 40,000 liquid assets. I think it's less than that. But
in Maryland, you have to have a bond, correct? MHIC bond.
Yeah, that or like 20,000, 25,000 liquid assets. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think Dave might know some of these answers, but I think he's sleeping again.
I'm right here. I'm listening to Gabe.
Dave, I mean, you're doing $1 million in Delaware. Did you have to do anything for your class A, or did you have to do or does it matter?
Are you talking about building or mechanical?
Well, it's going to be the same for contractors, whether it's built, whatever your reference is. Even for your HVAC, to get an A, B, or C license.
No, it doesn't work. It doesn't work like that in Delaware.
Okay, that's what we're asking.
It doesn't work like that in Delaware. Nope.
Okay.
No, Gabe's giving you all the right answers.
Perfect.
Well, I wasn't sure, so I guess I don't know what I have. I guess if I might have a Class A equivalent now. I mean, based on Delaware's requirements, and if I were to take the same thing or need the same license in Maryland, then I'd have to go through a bunch of jump through a bunch of hoops to get that license, to the testing and the OSHA requirements and construction law, all that stuff. I've looked into that, and I'm going to take that probably early on next year. Some license in Maryland too, but because I do a lot of work now down in Ocean City for other contractors under that umbrella of their license, and I just can't take anything on my own right now because I don't have the license number, MHIC number.
Okay.
Yeah, the MHIC in Maryland is Maryland Home Improvement Contractors License, they call it, and it kind of encompasses a lot of different things. That's what it is. And Maryland's kind of funny about their licensing and their bonding. It's very tricky to learn. It's very tricky to learn what's going on in Maryland.
Steve, how many employees you got over at RRMM now, and where are you finding your people?
Good question. So they're hard to find. So in my little company, which is a commercial general contracting company, we've got about 20 people. We're small in number. We're fairly significant in dollar volume. But in the overall companies, plural, which I'm a part of and they're a part of me, we've got about 120 people total. And where we find our people, mostly word of mouth. We advertise. I would say that the hit rate on advertising is way less than 5%.
No,
And
no
so
Home Depot parking lot.
yeah, well, I used to do that. Rick probably used to do that, and Gabe probably used to do that, but not so much anymore.
So just to recap, you're having a hard time finding people that want to make $60,000+ a year that don't need a college education.
That also want to work. That's the hard part.
That's
Of
the
course,
trick.
the work. No, I get that.
So.
Okay. And Rick, over where you're at, as far as doing the residential side, what are you doing even on subs right now? I mean, how are y'all finding people?
Yeah, it's well, for all of our employees that we have, has all been word of mouth. And honestly, I feel like that's how I've gotten most of the positions I've worked through, is just knowing somebody that knows somebody and can put in a good word for you. I've sent my application in a lot of places over the years and hardly even, just cold applications and hardly even gotten a response.
Yeah.
As far as subs, we've got our core group, but being as busy as we are right now, we're starting to get, like, even our guys are stretched thin where we could take on another trade, but just finding someone that can execute the work that you need done at the level you need it done. It's hard. And even our guys, I was just talking to our electrician today. He's like, I'm busier than I've ever been. I can't add another crew. I don't even know where I would find someone that could be reliable to run another van. And same thing with, literally, it's like across the board. I mean, a lot of our trades are running like 3-4 man crews. It's just like that's all they've got.
And we're landlocked down here, so it's not like you've got this giant place to pull from.
Yeah. So on those GC, I mean, everyone you are pulling from, what kind of, well, let's talk about the scale. So you're doing custom big homes, or y'all doing, development? What kind of, what's y'all's appetite? What do y'all get mostly into, right?
We are trying to be, I'd say we're a newer company, basically been in business 8 years, and we've kind of slowly worked our way up the market. And we've been fortunate enough to pretty much stay right in Virginia Beach, kind of, if anyone's familiar, the oceanfront Great Neck area is honestly where we've had most of our core work, and we're trying to just make our way up into that really higher end niche market. We've got, let's see, like 3 new constructions right now and 2 renovations. I mean, we'll always take the new construction.
They like 300-400 up, 500. What kind of scale?
I would say we're probably starting at any new construction around here is probably starting at $1 million for us.
Okay, so you're doing high end.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they're probably needing like spray foam.
Yeah, definitely.
Just a matter of time.
There it is.
Stand by for infomercial.
That will be the new sign behind Jeb will be spray foam.
Foamtastic. Actually, it'll say Foamtastic. Rick, call me.
Nice.
I got something for
Sounds
you.
good.
On the insulation. Okay. And then, and Steve, I know y'all are doing schools and commercial buildings. I know y'all doing restaurants. I mean, you're all over the place. What's hitting right now? What's popping for y'all?
Everything. It's impossible to say. For a while, it was religious facilities. They were crushing it, and now it's everything. We're doing schools, retail, office buildings, warehouses, medical. It's all over the place. It's impossible to keep up. We're building a big apartment complex out in Suffolk. It's hard to keep up right now.
Okay. And Gabe, you said you're doing anything from decks to whatever, right?
Yeah, it's pretty small scale stuff. I have some remodels going on right now, kitchens, bathrooms.
This time of year, though, man, you're killing it, because I know since COVID, like residential market, remodel, like what you're doing is off the charts.
It's hard to find people who want to spend money right now, seriously, in the residential market, that is. And, I've been really lucky with referrals from a few material suppliers around here that I give my name and information to. they keep sending me jobs. So that's pretty much been keeping me going. I don't have too much work.
Gabe, that's one of the things I was going to ask you, not to interrupt you. And one of the
Sorry,
things
go
that I found when I was your age that was very important to me is and very important to me moving forward and being successful was to forge really good relationships with suppliers, with almost like on a team basis that we would work together. I mean, it's very, very, very. There is no one and done. I mean, there's not that many out there. It's very important that, especially in the place that you are now in this, that not only the financial relationship is what they need it to be, but also that you're consistent in your relationship with suppliers. Don't you find that you said something very important a minute ago, that they were feeding you work. Your suppliers were feeding you work because I think they probably see somebody that's energetic. They know will call somebody back. Okay. They'll be responsive and they'll follow through and they'll be fair. I'm not saying they'll be the lowest guy, but they'll be fair. And I think that looking back, not talk about me, but looking back on my career, I remember when I opened my first account with a refrigeration supply house, the guy knew me from where I had previously worked, and I couldn't get any credit. I didn't have any ability to get credit. I didn't have any history, but the guy opened a house account for me. It was United Refrigeration, and the manager there, Mike Dunn, opened a house account for me where basically he said, Dave, you pay me and I'll pay them. Okay, for a while. And guess what? To this day, they're one of our two largest suppliers to my company. So to this day, it's been okay. So I'm 61 now. I was 24 then. All right. So that company, that's how much business we've done with them because of that relationship. And that relationship's not always going to be perfect. All right. It's not always going to be perfect, but you have to decide that you're in a marriage together, you're in a relationship together, and you got to get through the times. You got to get through, and it's the same like for you and customers that you'll have. It's not always going to be perfect. You're going to drop a tool on somebody's vanity and crack it, or you're going to step through their ceiling. Something's going to happen. I'm telling you. You do enough work for somebody, something's going to happen. All right. Eventually it will. And
Dave, I stepped in my own ceiling a couple weeks ago, Dave. My own ceiling.
But what overcomes that, though, I think, Gabe, is what I'm getting at, is the relationship. If people know, I used to say to myself, some of the best customers I ever had were customers I screwed something up on, because that's when they really get to see who you are.
Right.
You take responsibility. You're accountable. You correct the problem. You correct whatever made the problem go bad, so it won't happen again. And then people get to see who you really are. And if you do all those things, even when you have problems with customers, normally they'll stay with you and they'll see what kind of person you are. You can't run from a problem. If you create a problem, you've probably already done that already, right?
Oh yeah, plenty of time.
Yeah. So you probably learned that it's your best just take your medicine up front and show what kind of class you have. And I think I'm sure Rick could tell you that. He's been down that road. Okay. He's been.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, you're building homes. By the way, if you're building homes, and I've done commercial and residential HVAC, and in some respects, a high-end residential home can be tougher than a commercial job, because a lot of times on commercial jobs, we have really good plans. We know where everything's going. There's a lot of room.
If Steve did his job, we did.
There's a lot. There's a lot of room to work. I mean, there's all but on residential, a lot of the mechanicals, especially the plumbing, heating, air conditioning, electrical. That's really a lot of times the success of that is based on the ability of the GC to get those parties together and do really successful walkthroughs. It's not on the plans a lot of times.
Yeah,
you got to figure this out on the fly. But the more planning you do, right, Rick?
Yep. No, absolutely. We've been fortunate enough to have a few projects we've done recently where we've actually, shared with the client the value in having a mechanical design.
Yeah, sure.
But prior to that, I mean, it's not even thought about on the structural plan sometimes, and it's just like, hey guys, we got a steel beam here. How's this duct getting over here? It's so yeah, that really takes someone that's paying attention, planning that stuff out. I've gotten to the point where, depending on what phase we're in, I like to go in and start to mark HVAC locations on the subfloor for trades. So we know where that's going. Hey, don't run a wire through here. We've got to have a supply grill going there or whatever.
Yeah, if you can get all the mechanical trusses you want to get made, but if they don't terminate at the mechanical room, okay, without a solid beam going through, you got a problem anyway, right? I mean, you can do all that. So that's a really this is what I'm getting at is like a relationship based. All these businesses, they're all relationship based businesses. Everybody's got to work as a team.
Absolutely. And I think going back to what you mentioned as far as whether it's a supplier or other trades, whenever we've needed another trade that we're maybe lacking in, we either ask basically our top trades, like, hey, who have you seen on other projects that would be able to execute work at our level that we're expecting, or call up a supplier, say, hey, we found the roofer we're using right now from supplier. We were kind of struggling with roofing. Hey, who's someone that has a professional operation? They gave us a couple numbers, called them up, and we've been working with them for the past, I think, 6 years.
Rick, exactly. Are y'all hiring other GCs or people to come up under you right now to get running jobs, or what are y'all doing for that? Are y'all looking to,
as far as subcontracting?
No, for new hires, for your company.
It's like always an ongoing conversation, because it's, hey, if we hire another project manager, can we take on more work? But more work is also, or
even someone say sweeping floors and tidying up and doing that stuff.
Well, that's another
to become you.
Yes, that's another conversation we've had. We have one assistant project manager right now who kind of handles all those, go to Lowe's, sweep floors, whatever we need, move this material. And we really said, hey, we've got 4 project managers now, but we need more assistants to come in. But yes, I think they could totally come in, know nothing, and see what's going on the job and learn and ask questions. And if you really have a passion for it and you want to learn and maybe spend time on your own, furthering your education, then you can succeed for sure.
So that would be a good in.
Yeah. And you said even knowing nothing. So let's say if there's somebody at home right now that's still in school and they want to, hey, that looks like an awesome job. They could take what? They could take some shop classes, whether it's carpentry or HVAC or electrical, whatever. Any of that stuff's going to help them.
Yeah, there's so much on YouTube now that people are putting out there, just educational content. I'm constantly looking on you. I mean, if you're looking for something, I mean, it's probably there, and you can learn it. Which to me is watching the video is easier than reading the book.
What are you looking for, Jeb?
I agree.
On YouTube.
Sorry, Rick, in your job, you're kind of like a conductor to an orchestra.
Absolutely.
Rick.
Yep.
That's kind of what you are. I mean, every day is really interesting because every day is different, right? There's no punching widgets in that job. I mean, you're conducting an orchestra every day to make an end song happen.
Exactly. I think that's one of the reasons I love what I do, because I couldn't sit somewhere and do the same thing in the same place every day. But you're right. You have to have the vision for the completed project, and talk to every trade involved, and get their opinion. Like, hey, we're looking to do this detail. Do you think it's doable? Can we execute this? What do we need to make sure we account for? You kind of get everyone's opinion. You may not get to give everyone their first choice for how it gets done, but you can at least factor that in.
Okay, Steve, to answer your question, my YouTube search would be how to wire a capacitor, which I called Dave, he couldn't tell me neither, so I had to YouTube it.
All right. You grab both ends of your screwdriver and touch it to the terminals. That's how you test.
But tell me, as far as, so what do you think? So someone that's looking to do GC, Steve, they're like, hey, that's great. I like the numbers. I could build some stuff. Whether it be Votech or just high school shop class. I mean, what recommendations for, let's say, like a junior, someone going into junior next year, So they get 2 years of high school left.
Yeah.
What would you tell them to do, or advise them to do?
You know, I hate to say that a college education in the construction field is valuable, but it is. And so if that's your path, then that might be a really good path, and that makes you hireable for people above me. My company, we're going to hire people that show heart and will and brains. That's the type of person. But college education can be a differentiator. But let's go back to my company.
I was talking high school. Sorry, not college. High school, like high school.
Yeah, but you walk into my company and you're willing to work. You've got some common sense. You've got drive, and you're honest. You've got an opportunity to be somebody. My right-hand person right now, she's a partner right now, and it's a podcast, but I'll name her. It's Magley Inslee. She started with nothing. She had zero experience in the construction business, and she became a partner in the past 6 months, and she'll be the CEO in 8 years probably. And so it's heart, it's determination, it's partially personality. I'm not going to say personality is not important, but it's brains, it's common sense. Just work hard. And for especially Gabe and Rick. Rick, I think you're fairly young. I can't tell, but you guys seem to have a lot on the ball, and just keep pushing, man. It's not rocket science. I'm certainly not very smart compared
You
to
mentioned
people
having
that work for me. So
you mentioned having your right hand awesome woman, which is awesome because we know their attention to detail, just in general, with ladies, like they would be phenomenal builders, which we both know Tara Preston, who's done work for me, and they call her Tear It Out Tara. She's a phenomenal home builder, and if she don't like it, it's out.
Hey,
You're
they
redoing
know
it.
everything you don't do right. They know everything you don't
They
do right.
see it, they know it, and you're not getting away with it.
Well, we've talked to a lot of really great women in various trades on this show in the past. But I want to ask a question about social media and how you are personally using it to benefit your business and so on. Start with you, Steve. How are you using social media these days?
Well, I'm old. I'm also 61, so social media is a new phenomenon for me. It's mostly for PR. I'll be frank with you. I don't think we get a lot of new business out of it, but certainly name recognition and PR and recognition for our people and what we do and the philanthropy that we do. That's what we use it for mostly. It's not a business getter, but it is it gets your name out there. That's us. But we're a different animal probably than the other guys.
And which social media are you using?
The one that my director of business development uses. I assume we're using Facebook and other platforms, but I'm the wrong guy to ask.
Chuck, I feel like you're lobbing one up for Gabe here because he's in school for marketing. Like
I'm gonna leave him for last.
You just tossed him a good one, but he's like ready to swing.
How about you, Rick? Right. What are you doing social media wise?
So it's honestly, we got into. I'm not a big social media fan in general, but we got onto Instagram about 3 years ago, and it's honestly been huge for us from almost two aspects: connecting with other general contractors across the country, where you basically can share struggles, ideas, how to run your business, but it's not anyone that's a competitor in your area. We've literally made friends that have come from other parts of the country to our job sites and hung out. They've helped educate us and vice versa. I think the other part that we've been able to share through Instagram is our process and just the things that we do when we're building for a client, the extra mile, the things that we do that we like to think that probably other people aren't doing. And I don't know if we can point to any job directly like, oh, we got that job from Instagram, but I think it's anyone that is looking could go on there and say and look and scroll through and see some of our posts and say like, wow, they're on it. They go the extra mile to make sure the client is happy or that they're confident in a selection that they're making. We're big on mock-ups. Not having someone make a selection from a little piece of tile. We'll put tile on the wall, the grout color, 2 colors they're looking at. And I think from that aspect, It shares some of the behind the scenes to give a potential client confidence in what you're doing.
It's
Before we
a
let
relationship builder to a
Yep.
good extent.
and before we let Gabe tell us all he learned in school, you touched on something there with the other contractors of different areas and all. That's how me and my best friend Dave Jones met. We're on social media together, and we actually met at a trade show in Florida this past January.
In person,
January.
but we knew each
In
other
person, yes.
online for a while. It was an online relationship.
I walked through the bar and he pinned me out of the bar at hundreds of dudes. He's like, "That's Jeff."
There he is. Yeah. I think it's important to know that to note that on this marketing side of things, it's a multi-pronged approach anyway. It's always going to be, and it's like Steve said, like Facebook, for instance, it shows their philanthropy type stuff. It shows this, it shows that. But marketing in general, I've found, and I handle the marketing for our company now, is a multi-pronged. It's a multi-pronged thing. I mean, I could name like 10 different things that we have in our company that are marketing, from billboards to Facebook to the proper website to the trucks, to a guy in uniform at Wawa opening the door for somebody. I mean, it could be anything. Sometimes you'll never be able to track the thing that triggered someone to contact your business. But so it's important to know that everything you do is going to be a representation of your company, whether it's an immediate representation, something subliminal, that lets somebody remember you, or just a quality thing you did, or the fact that you screwed something up and made it right for a customer. Might be that. What do you think, Gabe?
Yeah, this is all you, Gabe. Bring it home.
Come on, man. Come on.
Being on the spot.
Come
No
on,
pressure,
boy.
bud.
Come
No
on.
pressure.
Come on, Gabe. Come on.
So
Really going to
look,
school
you
for it.
might you might be a little disappointed with my answer, but I don't rely on social media to get me business. I like it. I like that it's there, and I can show off the jobs that I've done, and I feel like it's more useful for even finding subcontractors and guys to work for you. A lot of the guys that have done work for me have Facebook pages. I mean, personal Facebook pages, but I'll see guys who comment, like certain posts on the would you recommend pages on Delaware and stuff like that. And I look through that, and I'm able to find people. I message people that look like they may be in the construction trades based on their photos and stuff like that. And I'm able to pick guys out that I'm able to use for certain jobs, and that's how I found Facebook useful. I mean, I just got on Instagram maybe a couple months ago, so I can't really say much there. But as far as marketing goes, I like the human relations. I like making good relationships with my customers, and I found out that a lot of my business comes from the same I don't know what's the rule, 80-20. So this 80% of your business comes from 20% of your customers. And that's been insanely true for me for the past 2.5 years. So,
Gabe, what would you tell somebody? I mean, I know you. I mean, I know your family. I know they're all hardworking people. And
Right.
and what would you tell somebody that like you got to you're the closest in age to somebody coming out of high school here. Well, give me the 5 qualities or the 3 qualities that you would tell somebody that, hey, this is the reason, like, because a lot of guys your age are out partying and doing this and that. You're busy building this business. Okay. You're busy building this business. And what would you tell a kid that was 18, 19 that had some drive, maybe like you? What would you tell them? Hey, these are the must-dos. Give me your 3 must-dos.
something that I didn't do, I'd tell them immediately, don't go out and start your own business. Go get a job with pick a trade that you're interested in. Go get a job with somebody and work through your apprenticeship to get your journeyman in any certain trade. If you're interested in going into the trades, go that route. There's no good way. There's no book. There's no like YouTube video, anything on to explain to somebody how to do this. It's kind of, you have to jump into it, and you have to fail, and you have to fail, and you have to fail, and keep failing to learn really how to do this and how to do it successfully. And especially at my age, and I found that people in my area, know people. I've been doing that for 40 years. Why would I tell you how I learned how to do it? They're giving up a lifetime of knowledge to somebody who, they see as a threat. And, people, that's what I found. People around here, that's how they respond when I ask them questions about, certain things, questions that I have about the business, the financial side of my business. Nobody really wants to share that information, and there's no book on how to do it. So you just kind of have to jump in, see what works and see what doesn't. And that's how you figure it out.
Okay.
But,
If you had an 18-year-old guy,
yeah.
and there were 3 things for them to succeed, what would you tell them? And that could be, Gabe, it can be something as simple as put your phone down or show up on time, or
Good Lord.
it can be anything like that.
When you're at work, be at work. Be transparent with your customer. Don't get caught, don't lie, and don't get caught in a lie. The more honest you are, that's what I found. The more honest you are, and the more straightforward you are. You don't have to give every the price you're paying for every sheet of plywood, but be honest with your customers, and let them know the deal. Don't hold anything back from your customers. That's a big deal for me. The more honest I am, the more people appreciate that.
And how about this, Gabe? How about the deals you do? I ran into this today with a guy in our industry, and Jeb might have seen it on a page we're on, one of this thing. But anyway, how important is it to you? And have you learned the lesson that you really need to have stuff in writing? You really need to have good scopes of work. All right. I always tell my people in my company, our most important thing on our proposal is our exclusions column, what we're not including. Okay.
Right.
Don't you think it's very important to have stuff in writing and a really good scope of what you're doing?
Absolutely. Yeah. My contracts are, they're not very long now. For my smaller jobs, they're even 4 or 5 pages long, text, you need a magnifying glass to see. So just on exclusions, and things you're not going to do, you have to lay out what you're going to do. At the beginning, but especially important to lay out what you're not going to do. And, change orders are they're a good thing. I like change orders, but, you really need to have a lawyer, write you up a good contract. So
the other thing is there, Gabe, and I want to move on to these other guys, but if you ever do something for a customer, I'm going to give you a piece of advice, and you do it as a value added thing. Okay. Yeah. You say, hey, look, I'm going to do that for you. It's no big deal. I'm going to do it. Send them the change order with 0 balance on it. Send them the invoice with 0 on it, just so they understand what you did. Okay. Just so they understand.
Yeah.
If you do something and you're just going to throw it in, just send it to them. Yeah. Steve, I want to close it out with you with the same thing. I want to ask you, you're my age, looking back, young kids getting in the industry now or whatever. Give me your 3 things that you would tell an employee coming on board now, or somebody coming into the workforce, particularly in the trades or construction.
That's tough because I got way more than 3 things, but be humble.
Give them all. Give them all.
Be humble. Try. It's really hard when you're young. It's really hard when you're my age as well to admit what you don't know. So be humble.
I love that one. That's my favorite one.
Yep, and dig deep. Be on purpose. In other words, try not to do anything as a reflex. And even again, I'm going to say at my age, I still have knee-jerk reactions to things, and I fight every day to try to be on purpose. Think about what it is I'm doing and why I'm doing it. Be honest. Gabe touched on that. Rick seems to have a tremendous presence as well. So continue to use your personality, but understand that you are nothing without the group of people that are going to be working with you. And I'm going to keep going back to Gabe just because you're a one-man show, but at some point, at some place in what you do now, you rely on other people, and understand that is key. If you can't get people to work with you, if you can't get people to follow the direction that you think you ought to be going, then you're going to struggle. So really rely on other people, trust them, empower them, and let them be good, because everybody wants to be recognized.
Steve, one of the ones you reminded me of, I add on to that, is that I'm always preaching is, as long as you're proactive, be proactive as many times as you can, and you'll have to be less reactive.
Yeah.
Be proactive. Do the stuff up front. Have the proper documentation up front. Have all the stuff up front. Pre-plan. I love the thing you said in the beginning, Steve, about pre-construction is the most important thing there. That's a huge team for you. If you can build the thing on a desk, you can generally build it out in the field if everybody knows what the heck's going on. You can't go out there and just throw a set of plans at a team and say, here, go do this. So what about yours, Rick?
I would just say no going into it. It's not going to be easy. I mean, I think being in the construction industry is hard work. Physical, you're outside anywhere from 100 degrees to, at least in our area, 20 degrees. And that might not be fun on those days. I think just being reliable, if you can come to work every day on time, that's pretty huge. And a good attitude. When you ask somebody to do something, I know it's not going to be easy or might not be your first choice, but it needs to get done. So having that good attitude of like, yep, we'll take care of it, versus, thinking of an excuse or why it doesn't need to be done or whatever.
Hey, Rick,
yeah.
if you're going to have to do it anyway, you might as well do it with a smile on your face, right?
Exactly.
Because at the end of the day, you're going to have to do it anyway.
Exactly.
So why not?
Unless you're leaving right there and that's it for you. I mean,
no, you're going to have to do it anyway.
Exactly.
Trust me. All right, Jeb.
Coming to the end here.
We are wrapping up. Thank y'all so much for joining us tonight. Those at home, next week, we've got a special treat. We got pilots. I've got 2 flyboys already lined up, and I think we're going to have another one. So it's going to be pilots next week. Ziggy is going to be here, so just wait till you meet him. And I think he's got his mentor, Dickie, with him. It's going to be a great show. Tonight was awesome. Thank you so much for joining us, General Contractors. Hey, I'm one too. Love you guys. Y'all are doing great things right now. It's hard to find people that want to work. We feel your pain. And for those at home, thanks for tuning in. And Chuck or Dave, sorry, I'll send you that video on the wiring the capacitor thing when we're off. Okay, buddy. All right. Thanks a lot.
Hey, give Chuck a last moment here.
Okay.
Chuck, give us something deep, Chuck. Deep.
Well, I just want to hear real quick from each of our guests, what gives you satisfaction in what you do? Like what brings you back each day? Let's start with you, Gabe.
What brings me back is purely probably the potential to what I can do in this industry and what the people I can reach and eventually the people I can employ. That is the reason I keep I wake up every day and I keep trying to build what I have here.
So it's
because
a lot of hope.
Sorry, go ahead. A lot of hope. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Rick, what brings you satisfaction?
I kind of mentioned before, I kind of love seeing the process from starting early in the project, foundation to framing to pulling up all the paper off the floor, the hardwood floors are under there, the countertops, everything, kind of seeing that finished result, which kind of goes hand in hand with client satisfaction. When you get to the end of the job and you just know that your customer appreciates like what you've done to get them to the finish line, that's very rewarding as well.
All right, Steve.
Oh gosh, back in the day, it was the process and seeing what we were able to build, and now it's hands down, no comparison. It's my people and the people I get to work with, and helping them do what they do, and seeing how good we are as a team. Hands down, no competition.
Thank you, guys. It was great having you.
Appreciate y'all tuning in, and we are 5 minutes over, so we'll see y'all next week, 8 o'clock.
Yeah,
Tuesday.
we're on overtime now.
Did we lose the satellite feed?
Kill it, Gary.